WP Bosses, episode number 11. We're here today with Tarei King from Auckland, New Zealand. And we're going to get to know him, and we're going to talk some WordPress news, and we're going to do some other fun things. Let's get in. Who are you?
Me? Is that me?
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, that got cut off. Hi, I'm Paul. I run a company called Gold Coast Business Websites. I'm a front-end developer. I've got a few people who work with me to do that. And I also run WP Genie, which is a WordPress website care service. That's pretty much it. I run a company called Gold Coast Business Websites.
Cool. Nick, who are you?
Well, I was just hearing an echo of Paul, but I'll chime in here. I'm Nik Cree, and I run a business called Positive Business Online. We build websites for businesses, primarily work in the Genesis framework and any other sort of thing that people get us to do.
Cool. Tarei, who are you?
Hey, I'm Tarei. I'm a WordPress developer for a company called Human Made. We're a remote agency spread out all over the world, and currently organising with a bunch of other people WordCamp Auckland.
From Auckland, New Zealand. Yeah, cool. My internet is really Australian at the moment. AKA very slow.
Actually, I think I might have made things up because I had the playback on as well as the record, so I could hear everyone speak.
And then, was coming from.
That's it was me. That was me.
Wow, the only other Kiwi in the room.
That's embarrassing. I don't know.
Of course.
And I'm Robey Lawrence, the host of WP Bosses apparently, and I work at a company called Bearded Friend, which is me, I guess. I have a beard, I'll be your friend, I'll build your website, and that's basically how that works. Let's jump into the Meetup news. Nick is going to take the Meetup news today. Tracey sends her apologies. She's feeling a little bit under the weather. Hopefully she can get above the weather shortly.
That sounds like my cue. I'm not sure I'll do it as well as Tracey, but look, let's give it a crack here. So what's coming up? We have the upcoming WordPress meetups. There's the Melbourne WordPress group meeting on March the 8th. Can't see a topic yet, but I'm sure it's going to be inspiring and well worth it going to because Melbourne's always good. WordPress Brisbane, that's coming up on March the 9th, and they are looking at debugging WordPress core and plugins. So all those things that go wrong, here's how to fix them and work out, well, probably not fix them, just work out how to sort of locate it. WordPress Sydney, that's coming up, that's also on March the 9th, so same day as Brisbane. So if you're planning on doing Brisbane and Sydney, probably not going to happen. So they're looking at, their topic is supporting WordPress, so WordPress support. Then we've got Adelaide on March the 16th. They have Deborah Beckett from Automatic is going to be speaking there. So yeah, that looks pretty exciting. So that'd be cool. Might still whip down to Adelaide on the 16th, except I'll be in New Zealand. WordPress 27th of March. Now Sydney's being really greedy because they've got two meetups coming up, and that one's on WordPress theme design and development. Gold Coast, let's talk WordPress. We have a young chap by the name of Cameron Jones coming to speak to us on the third-party applications that every WordPress website should have. In Perth on April the 2nd, they have a general Q&A discussion. Sydney once again on April the 3rd. This time it's in Parramatta, and they're getting stuck into advanced custom fields. So that sounds a bit like Elliot Condon's plugin they might be looking at, who was on the show only just last week, no, a couple of weeks ago. And finally in Toowoomba, there is, they've got their meetup on April the 5th. And it's Let's Meet Up to share and learn more about WordPress. Not sure what the topic is, but I'm sure it's going to be great there as well. So that's the roundup. The only other thing that I would add in is this weekend in Auckland, New Zealand, they have the upcoming WordCamp. So if you haven't booked in for it, book in. And on that note there, I just noticed that Tarei has just disappeared. But he's one of the organisers, so he's probably off to organise something there, or the weather's just got really bad. But yeah, there are tickets available, and it's in Auckland down by the viaduct. There's a co-working space there. And if you're in New Zealand or thinking about heading to New Zealand, well worth going to this WordCamp. So that's the roundup of upcoming WordPress meetups and WordCamp.
Nice.
I'd just like to intercept with an apology here. We've actually got our Port Macquarie meetup as well, coming up on the last Thursday of the month, and I have failed to announce it on the meetup page, so you can give me a tap on the knuckles later.
Sorry, guys. Having a bit of connection issues.
Paul.
Storm coming through. Yeah.
Paul, you're up.
All right, so maintenance tip of the week or fortnight. Okay, so we all know that WordPress 4.7.3 got rolled out. Is that correct? 4.7.3 got rolled out yesterday or today. So if your site isn't already updated, then go ahead and do it. Do a backup beforehand. It solves it basically solves a couple of bug issues, security issues, vulnerabilities in sort of cross-posting. Anyway, look it up on Google, a little bit more technical stuff about it. But anyway, it's always good to keep your site up to date with the latest core software. So do that. And another, I just want to touch on just another little thing that's quite interesting that I've come across recently on a site that I kind of I got taken up, like I took it over. I inherited, and the client was saying that they were not really showing up in search, and if you know, when we did a search for their name, then that little tag came up saying that Google couldn't crawl the site because of the robot.txt file couldn't be read. So that's indicated to me that, well, anyway, point is I logged into the site, went into the settings reading panel, and you know that little checkbox that says search engine visibility, discourage search engines from indexing this site. So the developer who had sent the website live months previously had forgotten to untick that that button when they sent it live, and so the site was live for several months with that being ticked. So Google and search engines weren't able to crawl the site. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. So they lost, you know, a few 6 months of crawl data. So and they'd kept on regularly updating their site and everything. So they were doing everything right, but their site couldn't be read. So I guess this is a bit of a warning to developers who are listening to always make sure that you're that you you know, put that into your process, or yeah, or really just make sure you untick that if you're you know, rebuilding the site, rebuilding a client site on a subdomain or something, or a test server or something like that. So when you send it live, make sure you untick that, because that. And I was just kind of thinking, it's a kind of a really big thing, and you know, it's, you know, and I'm not sure why. Like, I know if you're running the Yoast SEO plugin, then it puts up a little tag, a message at the top saying, you know, warning, your site's, you know, hidden to search engines. So it kind of tells you, but But if you don't have that installed, and if you don't have any other plugin that sort of tells you that, then you don't know that it's that it's ticked. So I'm kind of a little bit unsure why that isn't the case. It's such an important thing. I mean, you want the site to be visible to search engines. So so I kind of think as a request to WordPress to make it a visible notification when that's ticked. So just to help everybody out. So anyway,
not a bad idea.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much my roundup for my tips for today.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, I've been guilty of that as well. Can I just add one other thing too, while you're on that topic?
Yeah.
Here's another little interesting thing, APIs. If you're developing a site or had a site developed and you happen to be hooking into something like Australia Post with an API key, and you don't remove the key from your dev site, or you don't remove the dev site and the staging site, then this API does things like flood Australia Post with 20,000 calls an hour. So they get sort of a wee bit upset about that. And so when going to debug the plugin and sort of rewrite code and sort of find out why this thing, and putting in lots of logs to see where all these calls are coming from, just check to see whether there isn't another instance on a server somewhere else that is actually causing all these calls. So there you go, another tip for the week.
Good tip.
Fantastic. Interesting.
Of the month or week or plugin of the episode, we should probably call it. SSL certificates are becoming a lot more and popular and commonplace. And something you need to do when you install an SSL on an existing site, or a lot of the time, is to put the old links that are going to non-HTTPS resources. And an easy way to do that is using a plugin called SSL Insecure Content Fixer, which was written by WebAware, aka Mr. Wilson K. And the way that works is you install the plugin, activate the plugin, and it automatically configures all the basic settings to redirect HTTP resources to HTTPS, which should fix that little green padlock your address bar, which is cool. And there's still an echo coming from somewhere, which is okay. It's kind of like that. Have you ever heard that? Use that app called Speech Jammer, which is where you put your headphones in and then you turn on this app and it replays what you're saying, but in like a 2-second delay or something, and then you end up mixing your words and go, and then you talk like that. It's pretty cool. Anyway, moving on. Tarei, we have some questions for you if you don't mind answering them. First question, how did you get started working on the web?
Working on the web, I feel like that was a bit of a mistake, really. When I was a little kid, can't remember how old, my cousin and I, we really liked the idea of design. We thought ourselves designers, so we downloaded a new app called Fireworks at that stage. And we made a beautiful website, all completely one big image of what we thought was the coolest gaming portal in the world. And then we put that sucker online via the built-in FTP agent client, and we got some people to visit it. And that was, I mean, that was definitely 56K days. So we went over to their house, we were all excited, and they were like, oh, hey, go look at your website. And that thing took like an hour to download the front page. So that was definitely my foray and entry into the web. And since then, I have done no design since. So yeah, definitely dev is where it's at for me since then, I suppose. As like a side note, they actually went on to work at Weta, both cousins. So at least one of us has a design aspect, I assume.
Yeah, cool. And so in that journey, where did WordPress come along?
So I feel like I'm one of these really kind of edge cases where WordPress is a newer thing for me. So I got to meet Bronson and Lachlan and Brisbane. I think you're on mute mode. So. So I got to meet Lachlan and Bronson out of Brisbane, and at that time I was doing WordPress theming for about 1.5 years, and ran into those two, and they were doing like some incredible things in WordPress. Bronson was demoing a gamification site that they did for a university. I think it was Stanford, or one of those kind of universities, and everything just gelled with me. I was like, holy crap, WordPress can't do all of this, like whole bullshit. And had lunch with them, and they were like, no man, this is what it can do. This is where WordPress can be. And I was like, wow. So my mind was blown. And it was as early as 4 or 5 years ago. So it's still relatively new. I think when I really stepped in, Dion had just pushed, with the help of everyone else on the project, automatic update. So like I'm a relative newbie to WordPress in general. Yeah, so it's really not that long ago that I got back in.
5 years doesn't sound that new. That sounds about how long I've been around WordPress as well too. but yeah, I'm still stuck in sort of theming and all that sort of thing there. But you've sort of taken a bit of a different tack, and I guess that's probably due to working with Bronson and Lachlan. And what was the company before Human Made bought it?
Before they joined up with Human Made, they were Senza.
That's Senza, that's right. Yeah. So did you join up with? So you're working with Senza, and
yes. So that whole, I mean, like, mad props for everyone who does theming and still uses Genesis. Like, there is definitely a good place for, like, there's enough room there for everyone to be in that space. So when you say you're still stuck as a themer, like, no way. That's exactly where you want to be right now. That's perfect. For me, I was kind of lucky that I met Bronson at that stage where I was, hey, maybe I can do Genesis, or maybe I can do another direction. And he was right, like him and Lockie were right on that crossroad. So for me, I was like, oh, hey, what should I do? I might do this Genesis thing. He's like, I strictly remember him saying, why would you like to learn a framework atop another framework? I'm like, actually, I don't think that makes sense to me personally at the time. And he's like, yeah, okay, we'll do everything with core values. And I was lucky enough that's the direction I ended up going in, which is a little different from most people, but it's definitely been a really good place to be. And I guess a lot of the perks from that is you get to meet a lot of, because you're working with core so frequently and fluidly, you get to see a lot of the community and meet people outside of it. So they were like, yeah, pretty big intro to WordPress. They might have, like for good or for bad, they've definitely sent me in a direction or where my journey is going, and it's a little bit different from anyone else, but everyone's doing their own kind of hustle to get to where they want to be, and this is just mine.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, I'm actually not really down that I'm just doing themes, so I'm pretty happy.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
But I'm interested in like me sort of working in themes and building business websites and that side of things there, and I guess working more front end. What's the difference between, say, that sort of thing and working in core? Like what are you doing in core? Because I assume, I mean, you're not working for Automatic. You're still working with clients, and you're a WordPress engineer, I guess. So tell us a bit about what that involves and what you do.
Yeah, so me personally, I haven't committed any code back to core. So when you mention core, it's not quite that level. But in terms of what that means for us, we do a lot of extending core. We'll do, like we use core and filters that are in there. Like we use base WordPress, and we extend that out to manipulate it into however our clients, like what their vision is. So we really empower people. And I guess the only difference with us and maybe like your clients is that they're on the enterprise/scale level of WordPress. So their vision is in some ways quite grandeur, but also very granular. So we are often going in and fixing something exactly for their purpose, and then like offering our expertise throughout the journey.
Cool.
Right, so you're using sort of the WordPress core as basically the engine, the theme, the and the code there to achieve their end. So you're not adding another layer on top of it.
We do, I guess, the infrastructure layer as well, and that's solving a lot of the scale issues with WordPress. I'm not directly on that team, but there's definitely a service team within Human Made that their focus is to handle that. But we do, yeah, you're right, we do use core and we leverage it out. I'm kind of one of these people that has made and written, like, I don't know, hundreds of plugins, but not a single one on the repo. And, you know, like, they can be as easy as 5 lines just to change something very granular, or something incredibly huge as like workflow.
Right. So what do you find is the most challenging part of what you do?
In a technical sense, or whereabouts would you like me to talk on that?
Oh look, it could be technical. I mean, so one of the things is that, I mean, I guess you're working with an organisation which got a head office on the other side of the world and in another temperature zone, and and you used to live in Brisbane, and you used to work out of, well, sometimes work out of an office in Brisbane. You now live in New Zealand, and you can sit on the back deck or have a cup of coffee, and you're not surrounded by anyone but the local wildlife. So, you know, that seems like a bit of a bizarre thing for working for a global organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I can preface that with explaining a bit of my role. And we are remote. We do work, I guess, wherever you want to, as any human can choose where they want. And early when we started working with Human Made, the offer was made to me to say, hey, where do you want to work? And I thought that just meant at home in your apartment in Brisbane. What it actually meant was wherever you want to go. So I just kind of humbly said, hey, do you think I could go to New Zealand? And Tom said, yeah, absolutely, go there. So it went from an apartment in West End in Brisbane with an office in South Bank with, like, you know, hundreds of people all around, to we live in a rural part of New Zealand. It's still in Auckland, I think. But we live here. To be fair, one of the things that's really important to me is actually getting some face time with other humans. So I do still go to an office. I do rent a desk for 2 weeks out of the month in Takapuna. I guess the plus is that you can have that option to go to and from work and home. But I also have, like, a really nice desk set up here as well at home. So you do get to pick those. I guess one of the most challenging things is that you are completely in control of how you spend your time. My offset hours are 3 hours. I'm halfway through my day before most people and say good morning in Australian time zones. And then by the time they're having lunch, I'm about to head home. So there's definitely the time zone kind of overlap there, or lack of it. And New Zealand's in a very unique place where I have crossover with people in the UK, and that's about it. So we are moving to Asia Pacific as well. We do have a lot of crossover with Singapore, and like, kind of that's where we're going. In a kind of small, we've got some ones there, and that crossover is really nice, but it's still an interesting way to live. You do lose perspective of time sometimes, and you know, it's very usual for me to stay up late or get up early and shake that up. But that's you know, on any given week, you can do it, choose hours to a lesser degree. I actually think that's, as well as maybe being identified as the most challenging, it's also the most rewarding. It's a little bit odd in my point of view, from my point of view, to have the freedom to be completely nomadic, work from wherever you want. But actually, if you want to work from home in your home country, that's also a huge option. And it's incredibly rewarding to be around the house, be close to family. And, you know, I love it. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So, are you the only human-made human in New Zealand at the moment?
Yeah. So I'm one of a kind for the moment. I mean, we're always hiring, and every now and then I'll, you know, jokingly say to one of the co-organisers, "Hey man, why don't you come work with me?" And he looks me dead in the eye and says, "I already rent you a desk in my office. This is close enough, thanks."
So so you're one of the organisers of the WordCamp coming up, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
How's that been going for you? Is this your first time to organise?
Yeah, so this is definitely the first time organising a WordCamp. We jokingly say it could be the last, but to be fair, we, I mean, like myself, my first WordCamp was actually WordCamp Europe a few years ago, and that just blew my mind. And ever since then, they've been amazing, different reasons and a different scale. And when I moved back home, like the community was completely lacking in terms of what I'd seen in Brisbane, what I'd seen all over Australia. Like, but such a good community, so inspiring to see. And I came here and I was like, oh, there's not like anyone around. So we took over the meetups in Auckland, and we've been running them with the same fella, Ralph from Future Lab, and him and I just run the meetups, and we thought, well, let's try a WordCamp. So he'd never been to WordCamp. We went over to Sydney, and that was the first one. He really liked that. I think to Will's credit, who was helping organize at that time, he really made the whole process look like amazing and simple and organized. Like everything just flowed, and he wasn't, he wasn't wrong. He just had he had so much energy for the WordCamp, and he really inspired us to pick it up. And we really have just like we're running a mile with WordCamp Auckland. So. Yeah. That's actually running this weekend, so I know a few people are coming over from Oz, which is nice.
Yeah, I saw the site, and you're doing a hungry pid for lunch.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's a pronounced hangi, and we're not actually doing the pit on site, only because we're in the city. So they, I don't know, strict rules about digging a hole and lighting a fire. I mean, if you see the venue, you'll just ironically laugh because they dug up an entire road to fix that or something. So we could probably just slot it in there. Yeah, but we thought we'd give something unique to anyone who's coming to WordCamp Auckland. And the foundation, to their credit, have just been amazing with helping us out there. The WordPress Foundation as a whole. So yeah, they were behind the idea. We actually got my parents to help out with the hangi. They do this professionally as part of what they do for work. So they were like, yeah, we can do it for you. Let's do this. It'll be awesome. First time for that. Yeah. We also, I guess, I think we're really lucky with our catering vendors as well. So, if you're coming over, you're going to be paid pretty well.
Awesome. It's a good reason to come back to New Zealand. It has been such a long time since I've had a hangi. So if there's no other reason, that'll be it.
I'm looking forward to you speaking it. So.
Are you going to do a traditional Maori? Was it? Is the haka? The
haka? No, I mean, I guess time and a place for that. Maybe at the after party, but absolutely no promises.
Let's try to help out there. I'll be on the sideline cheering you on.
Oh, sounds perfect.
So how many?
You're going over to speak, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be over there. I sort of foolishly or not put up my hand to speak, and they foolishly or not sort of decided, yeah, this might be a good thing. So I actually just needed an excuse to go back to New Zealand, and whether I was speaking or not, I was going to be there anyway. So I probably got a loud enough voice that they knew that they were going to hear from me, so they might as well actually sort of make it a bit more formal. So so yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And I've got, in fact, I've got a couple of mates of mine who are coming along to WordCamp for the very first time. So nice. It'll be good to see them there and catch up with them as well. So yeah, no, and look, I'm familiar with the area as well. So actually to get back there and just meet up with the guys. The meetup last, what is it, December? I think it was December, wasn't it? And so I met up with a few of the WordPress peeps over there. So yeah, it'd be good to catch up with them again. And one of the things I have noticed is WordPress is not quite such a big community over there as it is over here. And I think some of that might be due to the fact that there's a another web platform developed by Kiwis over there that the government's got behind and has really been pushing that. But an interesting thing is that I've got a few clients over there who are on this alternative platform, and the comments have come back to me is they've said, oh, look, we're interested in WordPress because it looks like it's a lot easier to use, it's a lot more user friendly, there's a lot more support, and there's a bigger worldwide community for actually just building applications that we can use, which we don't have to wait months and months and months to get developed, and is relying on a smaller community of developers. So I think there's a lot of scope and there's a lot of room for WordPress to grow in New Zealand. And look, for me to go over to WordCamp, I've got clients over there, and I'm really happy to be a part of all that. So yes, all credit to you, Tarei, for stepping up and organising WordCamp. I don't know whether you stepped up or pushed up, but mate, all credit for you getting in there and getting it done.
It's all a labour of love when it comes to WordPress, and it's definitely made easier by having a team. So I can't take full credit for everything that we do.
Absolutely. So just on that, for those that are coming to WordCamp, or those that are not and they're just considering it, what can they expect for the 2 days?
Yeah, so we've got I think we've got 13 speakers all lined up. We've got some pretty good grub. We've got a great venue. We actually have 3 expatriate kind of visitors or people returning home. So there's yourself, there's Dee, and also Craig Martin as speakers. We actually have a couple of automaticians coming out as well, which is going to be very exciting. I guess it's more exciting for the community as a whole because there's still the perception that Automatic had and the blur between Automatic and WordPress and the ownership there is still kind of a little bit blurred in New Zealand. So they're definitely happy to see some automaticians come over and represent here. We've got about, we didn't quite weigh it, but we have about 50 kgs worth of swag. So at some point, all the major sponsors were like, oh, we have to send something to New Zealand. They don't get a lot, so they sent a lot. So my desk has actually been replaced with swag.
Awesome. So
yeah,
you're
we've got a whole bunch of
bring
people.
another suitcase just to take the swag back.
I mean, you absolutely can, but there are a lot of people in the Australian community bring us swag as well. So I think you're just going to be ending up bringing it back for hopefully to next year.
So what you're saying is that I won't be bringing any back, but you're expecting me to bring some over.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I could buy another desk just for swag. It'll be perfect.
Good.
Do you have any mugs?
We don't. No, we don't have any mugs.
God.
I mean, we probably have T-shirts. We've definitely got. We were really lucky. We have a designer who's put in a lot of time into this WordCamp for us, and he definitely went all out when he had it, where he could do some T-shirts. So we've got some real nice T-shirts coming in. I'm super excited for them to come in. But they might drop on Friday. They might be here on Monday. So worst case scenario, I have 150 T-shirts. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So.
Holding the little kiwi fruit.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. I think he's called Guyana. I actually never quite understood his name or asked for it, but that's because I was just blown away by how awesome it looked. And that was all the brainchild of a great designer out here who's given us all of his time for free, Dan Matthews. So absolute props to him. He's been amazing.
Awesome.
So, mate, what do you do in your spare time? You obviously your time zones are a little different. So you start earlier and you finish earlier. So that means you've got a ton of time at the end of the day just to hang out and do all the things that sort of keep you interested and keep you sort of like being a good bloke.
Yeah, I mean, we move for family. So any spare time we have, we definitely just absorb with family, whether that's just down the road or up north or down south. We also get to see a lot of humans or like other people who are traveling on come through now that we're in New Zealand. So we spend a lot of time with other people and actually having a physical connection, which I guess is super, like that makes a lot of sense if you're someone who works remotely and online a lot of the time. Like interpersonal relationship you kind of miss 9 to 5, you just make up for on the weekend. So yeah, definitely very social and that kind of stuff. Project wise, more WordPress, really. Just as much WordPress as I can do. Helping out with our local marae and some work up north for just some charity stuff. So there might be a bit too much WordPress in my life. So we'll see. I don't think that's possible.
I don't think so either.
You need a life WordPress balance.
yeah, I think that might be a thing. I might just keep that as a hashtag at the WordCamp.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm all out of questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Tarei,
yeah.
Where do you see WordPress in 5 years? What do you, I know it's a tough question, but just where would you want it to be in 5 years? Where do you want it to be?
So for me, there's a lot of exciting things happening in the PHP world as a whole. So as a developer, getting some of that kind of the modernization of what PHP developers are able to use with tooling and tools like Composer, having some of those tools come within WordPress would be quite nice from a developer standpoint. But that's kind of loosely happening. Like, we're kind of all right with how WordPress is, so we don't kind of play with that. We get around that with other ways. Where the immediate kind of direction of WordPress is really embracing the API, moving towards this headless kind of CMS. And WordPress, what I would really like for a WordPress as a project is to really focus on the admin area and the user experience within content editing, which they just do the best job. Like, WordPress hands down is the best content editor online, and like building that strength up is definitely where we've got some good gains going, because the actual presentation layer of all that data is not necessarily going to be on the web. So thanks to the API, that kind of transition where we can spend a lot of time is building up that user experience for the people who aren't going to be consuming their data on an app or on a TV or a fridge. So I'm pretty hopeful that that's a bit of a focus. And I guess finally with that, I mean, I'm pretty much anything that's WordPress community. The project as a whole is actually more than just a code base. So the community definitely getting bigger and reaching out to some smaller communities is definitely something I'd love to see, especially here in New Zealand as well. So
cool, awesome answer.
Can people tweet you? Is that allowed?
What's that?
Can people tweet you? Do you allow that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tweet me. I'm at Tarei King on Twitter. Every now and then I'm at Auckland WP. I guess that's the joy of having 2 Twitter accounts on one phone. You kind of misrepresent either or. So you can hit me either way. You may or may not get politics thrown back at you. I do apologize if it comes from the wrong account. And you can also hit me on Slack. I'm pretty much the same handle everywhere. The good thing about having a multi name, 9 times out of 10, it's completely unique. So I'm Tarei King almost everywhere in the world, including Slack. So if you need to reach out, that's probably the best place. I've got Slack everywhere, and I'm pretty responsive on there.
Awesome.
And what's more, you even respond, so it's even cooler.
Yeah. I mean, you have to if you're going to say you are. Cool, guys. Well, seriously, thank you for having me on the show. It's been awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And unfortunately, I won't be at the WordCamp, but good luck to you and good luck to Nik.
Mate, looking forward to it. So looking forward to the after party. I'm looking forward to the main event as well too. But, and I think I'll be bringing along my sort of camera there to do a few hallway Facebook lives for WP bosses. So yeah, we'll put WordCamp Auckland out to the world, or at least out to Facebook and Google Hangouts. So yeah, so hopefully we'll grab some people there in their most unexpected moments with food in their mouth and coffee in their faces.
Gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it real. Hey, I love that. You know, let me know when you're over here. We'll see if we can pull some speakers down and some volleys as well. Always keen to help out with that kind of experiment.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right. Goodbye.
Well, mate, thanks for it.